Michelle, my name is Daniel Howat. I'm from Next Best Picture. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I am such a big fan of Japanese Breakfast, and somehow before I saw Materialists, I didn't know. I didn't know that you had a song, and so when the credits ended, I was like, wait a second. So yeah, I'm excited to dive in and talk about it. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So tell me about how this collaboration began. Had you met Celine before getting connected for this project?
I had strangely never met Celine, but of course was a fan and had um felt like I knew a lot about her. The film came to me in February of this year. I had just gotten back from spending a year in Korea, and I was gearing up for our latest album cycle. And it happened to be a really charmed period of time where I had some time off. And they were looking for an original song for the end credits. And it was very exciting to me, mostly because I wanted to see what Celine was up to for her second feature. And of course, was really excited to be a part of something like that. I'd never written for film before, and it seems like a really wonderful opportunity. And so we had a Zoom meeting, and of course, fell for her character even more. I mean, she's a very brilliant and talented woman, and of course, we're both Korean American, and I was just so excited to see it. And so I was sent the screener, and it had to be done in kind of a very short period of time. And the stars really aligned in the sense that I something came right away after watching the film. I found it to be very moving, and I wrote the song over the course of the next couple of days. Brought in Craig Hendricks, who is our live drummer and has also worked with me on Jubilee and Soft Sounds from Another Planet, to come arrange with me. And then we went into Electric Lady, recorded it. Celine loved the song, and it went. So I would say that it all came together over the course of like 2 very charmed weeks.
Wow. Like from the first time you heard about it to delivering the final was around 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
So we wrote and recorded and arranged and plopped it into the movie with no notes. I would say in like a 2-week turnaround.
Wow. When you first chatted with Celine about the project, what did she say she was looking for?
The big thing was she was looking for something that felt romantic. I mean, it's a love story, and so it was important that the song feel, I think, romantic. And the 2 examples that she gave me were somewhere between John Prine's In Spite of Ourselves and Natasha Bedingfield's Unwritten. So it was a pretty big spectrum to land in between.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's what I love about Materialists is that, yes, it's a rom-com, but it's also tonally pretty different from what we think is the generic rom-com. A lot more earnest than like prioritizing big silly laughs. I love both, but that's where the Materialists landed. Did you try to find a similar tone, like very romantic, but still having that earnest charm to it?
Yeah, I think that that's sort of what I read Celine to be. I mean, I think that was sort of what Celine wanted. I think she wanted a love song, but that was smart. And I think that to me is what the film is. It's a romantic comedy, but it's quite smart. And there's a real theme and moral lesson at its core. And yeah, I really wanted to write a song that also kind of landed somewhere along those lines, where it has that kind of upbeat, really earnest, almost Motown kind of feel good, romantic, timeless sonic palette. But the lyrics are kind of in the John Prine camp of being a lot of these sort of turns of phrases, and yeah, I think are quite clever. And yeah, so it was a combination of listening to a lot of great love songs, like all the Motown classics in my mind. A lot of them have in common is this repetition of the word "my baby," and so there's "Be My Baby" and "Baby Love" and what's that Four Top song? I always forget that. There's another Four Top song that has "baby" in the title, and there's this real repetition of that kind of pet name, paired with these kinds of turns of phrase that are talking about the advice of others, suggesting you meet someone that has a company, or make some figures, or but the only figure my baby has is mine. So yeah, I wanted to kind of play with that, and it felt like it was fitting for the tone of the film.
That was the specific lyric that I wrote down in terms of the wordplay. Find somebody who makes some figures. The only figure my baby's got is mine. I love the wordplay here. It's so
Thank you.
fun. It's so charming. Do you typically get started with lyrics or like instrumentation and the sound of the song first?
They're kind of they usually come together. I think usually it starts with one phrase, and then I build the progression around that, and then they kind of work together through to the end. So for this song, it's usually the first line, honestly. So it was, my baby, he don't got nothing, but he gives it to me. And I wanted something simple but loaded. And that was sort of what I came up with, because I think all great love songs, they do kind of have some sort of wordplay like that, or it's a really, really simple idea. But it feels somewhat profound when it's in the context of a song. Like I was thinking about, I can't help falling in love with you, or just be my baby, or God only knows where I'd be without you. So I was thinking a lot about what makes a compelling love song, and a lot of the time it's a very simple idea we can all kind of relate to.
Yeah, that definitely comes across. Well,
Thanks.
the instrumentation, how did you, like you said, you worked with Craig. I love the sort of almost ethereal tone that kind of opens the song with the slide guitar and the vocal riff underneath. Where did you guys get started in crafting the sound of this song?
Yeah, I started this song on acoustic guitar, and a lot of the songs on my new record are in like an open D tuning. So I think I was already there, and there were a lot of kind of just open chords and this kind of chugging upbeat feeling. I wanted it to feel like there was a real thrust to it. And then I sent it over to Craig, and I said I really wanted kind of like this big reverbed out Motowny kind of kit, this kind of real timeless sound. And he sent back some bass ideas and this loop with all of this auxiliary percussion and like super verbed out tambourine and very simple classic style, like howling, drums. And then, yeah, the two of us started working together. And of course, it felt natural that a string arrangement, I think, would come in. But yeah, I think that we wanted something really classic. And as a result, it's all analog instruments. There's no synthesizers or programming or anything. We went really classic with this.
So you said Celine had no notes. Is that right? What were her first reactions when you sent her the song?
Yeah,
Just
I mean, it was just in it goes, I mean, I was really bracing myself to for changes, I think that because I have to be the director in so many of the projects and that I work on, be it music or writing or the music videos or the whole visual world of the album or the tour, I'm always really looking forward to being a cog in someone else's machine. And I think that I have a real um like want to do good I really want to like serve someone, because it's sort of a rare instance where I get to be on the other side. So yeah, I was really bracing myself for it, what she might want changed, and but it was a pleasant surprise that she was just, it's perfect and it goes. I think it was also really nice getting to do the end credits, because you can kind of put your own interpretation on your feeling at the end of the film, instead of being tasked with having to accomplish something very specific within a moment. So yeah, I felt like there was great freedom, and I was very delighted that she was happy with it.
But I do feel like a credit song does have a sort of pressure on it I think it's a really underappreciated important job, because you're the last notes a person is hearing as they process what they've seen or whip out Letterbox on their phone or whatever they're
Yeah.
doing. Did you feel that sort of pressure to help people sort of, or to reinforce the vibe, the experience that someone just had with the film?
Well, I always joke that it happens to be a subject that I know a lot about, which is that I've never had the experience of loving someone who had any money. So I felt like I was really writing from the heart. And one thing that's really interesting about writing my own music is that it comes from a very specific detail from my life, and then there's this hope that it reaches this kind of universal feeling in the human experience. And actually, when approaching something like this, where you're writing for someone else's work, you're going from a very broad human experience and finding a way to make it very specific and true to you. So yeah, I don't know. I think whenever I feel any kind of pressure, I just kind of I try to double down on what I find to be moving and interesting to me. And that's really all I have any control over. And honestly, at this point in time, I thought we were just pitching and that there would be a number of artists that would be delivering songs. And, ultimately it's just a matter of taste of what fits what Celine felt would fit the movie. And so yeah, I just kind of tried to enter in my honest and earnest perspective and hope for the best.
Well, in that regard, did you find any difference in your own process for how you write for your own albums, your own work, and writing for a film? Was your process any different?
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's just about, instead of starting with some specific detail or moment that comes from my personal life, it starts with a bigger thematic idea. And in this case, the larger thematic idea is, this is a love story about two people who have nothing to offer on paper. But in spite of all of that, there is an indescribable feeling that brings them together and cannot be helped. And how do I bring specificity into that broader theme? Whereas when I write my own music, it typically starts from, a very specific instance or interaction I've had in my life. And then I sort of discover what that larger message is, or larger theme that I'm getting at within that moment. So it's almost like coming at it from the opposite end.
Well, Michelle, I couldn't let you go without talking. This is your first song that you've written for a film specifically, but of course, we know that you've been working on the Crying in H Mart film, and I know you've talked about that being on pause, which we're very sad about. We really want that movie to happen. But did writing the screenplay for that film give you more of a taste for entering the world of filmmaking? Could you see yourself writing an original film or doing anything else in the film world?
Yeah, I'd love to. I think I learned so much about the film industry that I wasn't really prepared for at the time. And I think it was a really challenging task for me that at the time I wasn't maybe ready for, because it's such a personal, very, very precious story. And in order to make a successful film, I think you have to be really open to collaboration and changes and I don't know, like moving narrative around and being receptive to uh yeah, receptive to other people's opinions. And I think that that was really challenging for me. And so it made me really want to approach screenwriting someday from something that was a little bit more removed from my personal life, and um, also wasn't necessarily an adaptation of my own work that's kind of had this perfect life on its own. And there's this real fear of taking away from that with an adaptation, I think. In my mind, it was really important to me to make no film versus bad film. And so, yeah, I do feel confident that it will be made someday. I really love the producers that I am working with on that film, and it was very promising. But yeah, I think I maybe wasn't ready for it at the time, and it made me really excited about the prospect of working on another project that was more tailored specifically for film from the onset, and more rooted in fiction. But yeah, I can really see a life working in that industry. I find it to be exciting and fascinating.
Do you have ideas that you've batted around for a film?
I do. I have an idea for like a mini series that I would like to write someday, but it's far down the line.
Well, I hope it's not too far because I'm
Yeah.
very curious. I would love to see that. Well, Michelle, like I said, I love your work. I love this song specifically. My family knows I've played it so often. My 7-year-olds like are singing along with it because I've played it so often. They love it. So I just really appreciate it, and I appreciate your time.
I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.